What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. With inflation going crazy, your money investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and a stimulus check update. President Biden is trying to put pressure on the gas companies to lower gas prices right now. In fact, here you can see here President Biden is pressing oil companies to boost gasoline supply as the gas companies just global gas companies, BP, Shell, Exxon, Chevron, um, are basically saying they don't want to increase supply, even though they can. And yeah, it's a game of cat and mouse here, and they can increase supply. They're nowhere near their capacity, and they're blaming Biden and stuff like this, but they're nowhere near their capacity of what they can produce. Yeah, you can see here President Biden is demanding top oil executives boost the supply of gasoline and diesel and other refined products on the market to combat rising prices. President Biden told the oil company executives in a letter this week that historically high profit margins for refining oil into gasoline and diesel were, quote, not acceptable during a time of war. Well, I mean, basically there is a war going on. I mean, it's not it's kind of weird to say during a time of war. I mean, because I guess we're not really in war, but there is a major war going on. It's Yeah. Did you ever think that we're in war? Because I mean, we are supplying them in war. It's crazy, right? Let me ask you a question here. Do you think in 6 months or a year from now, the U.S. might actually be in the war? And do you think that's a possibility? Do you think in 6 months or a year from now, we could be involved in World War III? What do you think the chances of that are? Yeah, that's it's an interesting question, don't you think? And President Biden called on the companies to work with his administration to address price increases caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. According to copies of this letter shared with The Hill, President Biden also said he was directing Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm to convene an emergency meeting on gas prices with industry leaders in the coming days. And he warned that he is prepared to use his emergency powers to increase refinery output capacity. Wow. He's prepared to use his emergency powers to increase refinery output capacity. That's interesting. Can the president force these companies, which do business on U.S. soil? They do have leases from the government to, use government land for production. That is interesting. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. That could be an interesting battle or thought. But President Biden writes in this letter, quote, "There is no question that Vladimir Putin is principally responsible for the intense financial pain the American people and their families are bearing. But amid a war that has rallied the gasoline prices more than $1.70 per gallon, historically high refinery profit margins are worsening the pain," Biden wrote in the letter, copies of which were sent to the executives at ExxonMobil, Shell, Valero, Marathon, Phillips 66, BP, and Chevron. The president writes, quote, "Your companies and the others have an opportunity to take immediate actions to increase the supply of gasoline, diesel, and other refined product you are producing and supplying to the United States market." Biden also asked the companies to submit, quote, "an explanation of any reduction of your refining capacity since 2020." Yeah, because, well, I mean, we did have the government or the country shut down, so, you know, as well as any proposals to address current challenges with supply, price, and refining capacity. The letter represents the latest effort by Biden to address record high prices, which topped $5 per gallon nationally over the weekend. Biden has limited options to address high gas prices unilaterally, which means executive order, and has taken a handful of actions, including ordering an unprecedented release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve earlier this year. Gas prices were already elevated earlier this year, but have been severely exacerbated by Russia's war in Ukraine, which began at the end of February and disrupted the global energy supply. Meanwhile, some of the leading oil companies like Exxon and Chevron reported massive jumps in profits in the first few months of this year amid the war. Imagine that. President Biden writes, "The crunch that families are facing deserves immediate action," which was dated a few days ago here. "Your company needs to work with my administration to bring forward concrete near-term solution that addresses the crisis and respects the critical equities of energy workers and fence-line communities." Now, for a counterpoint, the letter triggered some criticism from the industry, of course, right? At a roundtable hosted by the Problem Solvers Caucus, remember them? A group of centrist lawmakers in Congress from both sides of the aisle. A representative from a major oil lobbying group, yeah, imagine that, right? Implied the president could have used more tact in his messaging. Imagine that, right? They're a little bit upset with the president's letter. They're not making enough profit, right? The president sent a letter to our number of our members this morning criticizing some of the switching that we've seen. This is where tone matters. Oh, come on. Grow some thick skin, right? Chevron spokesperson, they're making billions of dollars, right? Said the company understands their concern. I mean, think about all the people who can't afford food and gas right now. They're complaining, they're making billions of dollars, right? That Chevron is working to expand production by 15% this year while criticizing Biden's energy policies. Please. Quote, "We share these concerns and expect the administration's approach to energy policy will start to better reflect the importance of addressing them. Unfortunately, what we have seen since January 2021 are policies that send a message that the administration aims to impose obstacles to our industry delivering energy resources the world needs." Yeah, this is typical stuff they always say, right? The representative for BP declined to comment on the White House letter, but pointed to the company's earnings report from the first quarter of 2021 that said BP's refineries operated at 95% of capacity during that time. But that's because they've also lowered the amount they're producing. And so you can see here, quote, "Though our refinery footprint in the U.S. is relatively small today," that's the key there, "we are producing at capacity and continue to explore options that have the result of delivering additional energy products to customers in the U.S. and abroad." Yeah. you know, it's just like trying to get a I mean, what are the gas companies going to say? um, yeah, it's like saying, "Oh, you guys are making too much money." Yeah. So Congress is going to have to do something. The president's going to have to do something. Um, Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Okay, next up, I got some updates on some states that are trying to help. Oklahoma lawmakers hold special session to propose inflation relief. The goal of the special session was to help save families money. Yeah. Oklahoma lawmakers held a special session to propose inflation relief. The goal of the special session that started Monday was to help save families money. The governor said legislators didn't do enough to help during their regular session, while legislators said their budget requests tied their hands. Several bills were introduced, and it appeared the inflation relief will come in the form of tax cuts, including cuts to income tax, grocery tax, and corporate tax. Well, I mean, saving money is, saving money, right? Tax cuts. I mean, a lot of Republicans want to do tax cuts, which is, it is what it is, right? Um, you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. You ask any Oklahoman, they're paying more at the pump, they're paying more at the grocery store. Anything we can do to help, we'll do, said Republican Ryan Martinez. In total, 15 bills were introduced on Monday, and 12 of them proposed changes to Oklahoma's taxes. First were income taxes. A couple of bills lowering the state income tax from 4.75% to 4.5% would save the average Oklahoman about $150. So I personally would send a $150 check, but whatever. I mean, it works either way. It works. Another bill would lower it further, specifically a full half a percentage point. It kind of sounds backwards, but or $300 to the average person. We want to offer the most inflation relief to Oklahomans, allow them to keep as much of their hard earned money as possible. I think that's what these bills do. Four bills focus on state grocery tax, two proposed a permanent elimination, and another two proposed a 2-year suspension. Some of the bills allow municipalities and counties to make changes to their grocery tax. Another bill took to phase out corporate income tax over 8 years. The devil's in the details, so we've offered several different types of options for inflation relief. Governor Eric Holcomb calls for a special session to give $1 billion to Hoosiers amid inflation. Governor Eric Holcomb is a Republican, actually, as well. He plans to call lawmakers back into a special session this month to distribute $1 billion in tax relief to Hoosiers due to inflation. Under his proposal, each taxpayers will receive about $225. This is in addition to the $125 checks residents are currently receiving through the state's automatic taxpayer refund checks that are going out right now. So this would be a $225 check in addition to the $125 checks that are going out now. So that's, let me see here, $350. So yeah, that's like I said, some states are considering a second round of checks now, and this is coming from a Republican governor. So Republicans and Democratic governors sending out checks now. And the governor says, quote, Hoosiers have real needs right now during this period of high inflation, from the gas pump to buying groceries, and everyone should benefit from the state's success, Holcomb said in a statement. The special session would open the door for lawmakers to pass legislation further restricting or banning abortion in Indiana if the Supreme Court overturns some or all of the protection under Roe versus Wade as well. Republican lawmakers have signaled they would examine the court's eventual ruling before deciding what to make law. Wow, so we got states already considering that. Wow, it's just hasn't even been ruled on yet, and they're already just wow, unbelievable, isn't that? I mean, it's been a law for 50 years, and they're already just unbelievable. Let me know your thoughts here, and it's unbelievable also how Democratic governored states and Republican governored states are completely different on the issue. It feels like the divided states of America instead of the United States of America. Unbelievable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But yeah, as you can see here, despite the challenges of the pandemic, the state's finances have so far exceeded expectations for the second year in a row. And like I said, pretty much every state has the same situation going on. 11 months into the current 2022 fiscal year, remember fiscal years have a different calendar, the state's revenues are $1.075 billion over forecast. The revenues for May alone were $209 million over forecast. So, like I said, pretty much, I mean, it's hard to tell every state. And, I'm not picking and choosing states. I'm just kind of, as we do our research, when there's news about a state proposing a stimulus check, tax refund check, or something like that, whenever it's in the news, I bring it up. So if I'm not covering your state, whatever state you are in, it's just because there's not big news about it. Okay, so whenever news comes up about it, I'm covering the news as it comes in. Okay, if your state has news, please comment down below, and I may see it. If you see anything like that, please give that comment a like, and it'll rise it to the top. I'm trying to cover as many states as I can. I just did a big video with over 10 states that have already passed state stimulus checks. And as you can see, a lot of states are now passing or considering passing more than one check. So if your state already passed a check, there could be more coming. And I think there's going to be even more checks coming in 2023, which is actually not that far away. We're already halfway through 2022 as well, believe it or not. So money is just rolling in for these states and the federal government. So there's a lot of money to work with. So I'm going to keep you up to date here with everything that you guys need to know about. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. I'll link you to some videos next you need to watch. But if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And then click the bell icon next to it so you get reminders when we go live with new videos. You can click here to see my new video Senator Bernie Sanders it just did about saving Social Security and raising benefits. And you can click here to see my new video about stimulus checks that are passed in states going out right now. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.